Hey, what's up, guys? Got another deck for you today. I know there was a guy actually asking about a Ruthless Vegeta deck, and it just so happens that I just kind of had this one sitting around for a while. It just recently got some changes the other day when I was doing some more playtesting with it. This is a deck that I've definitely tried to make work, and every time I kind of try to play it, I honestly always get really frustrated with it, I suppose. It's kind of physical decks in general for me, but let's start breaking down what I got here. So, of course, you have your Majin Vegeta MP. I'd use the full Vegeta stack from, I think it was Escalation is the set name. I think you can try to do the Fancy level 1 from, I think, set 10 it was, or sorry, set 9, but Legends, but it's just kind of, there's so much synergy between these levels. They work so good together. I've tried doing the set 1 level 4, but I think that new level 4, the unpreventable energy attack, is definitely something that can swing a lot of games. I've closed out games at this level before. It is pretty powerful, but I think the set 1-4 is pretty respectable too. It just kind of depends. But anyway, let's also go down the line of events here. First, I have Unleashed at a 3 of. I think this is necessary, mainly because I think there's certain matchups where you need to be on Vegeta's level 3, and you're not always going to be able to anger off that 1 or 2 super easy. Next we have Stylish Entrance. Now this is a new addition. I have yet to actually play with this card. I have put a lot of games on this deck, but this is honestly a very new addition that I've thought about it. I finally threw it in now. I do like it. When entering, it really synergizes well with your MP. On top of your Prideful Challenge over here, it just lets you dig through your deck quicker. I do really like that. Honestly, the actual power on it's not that terrible. There's not a whole lot of those constant effect ally decks I feel running around though, but it's really just for the when entering draw. But the endurance is really nice on it too, so, and you can always master it if it's dead. Get stared on at 2. I honestly don't even really want to run it in this deck, but I feel like it's necessary to have some sort of answer to Time's Worst while being in your opponent's hand. Maybe Sphere would be a better option, but I think Stare Down's what I've gone with. I only run 2 because we're running Vegeta, who really wants to be running styled cards. His level 2 and his 3 really wants you to have styled cards to get the full use of his effects on those levels. As well as Ruthless Mastery, wanting styled cards. You generally want attacks, but styled cards to be able to just pitch out your hand. Now, Stare Down's never really going to be dead, generally speaking, but again, it's a freestyle card, so it's a hard 2 right now. It's something I would love to cut, but I think you need it. Next, we have Red Inferno. This is a great card for Ruthless Unleashed. If you do end up drawing it, it's not dead because you can just replace it by playing it out of your hand, draws you a card. But it gives you a reveal crit, so if you do end up using your Mastery in combat, which if you don't know what Ruthless Mastery does, you enter combat, you banish top of your pile, you get an extra stage mod on your physicals, and then you can reveal a style card from your hand to play top card of your pile. That's an attack. If you ever play against a ball deck or an ally deck, just being able to get those crits on demand when you need them to just do stupid stuff, it's awesome. It's a really great card. I've always liked that card. We have one Red Observation. Now, honestly, I have never used this card. I usually don't ever draw it that often. And against the physical aggro matchup, which a lot of people are playing, it's kind of dead, honestly. But at least you can master it away. So again, running cards like this is really nice. Red does, if you're not red energy, you kind of don't have the best board hate cards in the world. So this is really nice to have as one of. I've used it a handful of times. It's been nice. They might see a swap out. We'll see. Time's Worst tool. Just gotta have this card. Next we go on to the block line. Now the block line is always kind of changing. That's kind of how my decks in general go. A lot of the block line cards generally are fluctuating quite a bit. So first off we have red blocking hands. Big anger card, gives you some stages. You want to generally get as much anger as you can with Vegeta. You want to be going up to your levels, so it's perfect. Now red disregard, here's a core card in red Vegeta, I feel. If it's banished from your pile, or just in general, it gives you an anger. Well, Vegeta on his levels 2 and 3 both play with your discard pile. So level 2 says you can banish 2 cards from a player's pile on his attack. And his level 3 says whenever you raise your anger, you can banish a card from each player's pile. So it helps you kind of chain up levels really quick if you have a couple of these in the pile, and on top of the fact that they all have the effect that they can banish cards out of your pile, so they can help set up your discard pile, which is really, really awesome for your mastery. Red Brace, really, it's just big endurance, and it goes back in your deck, which is really nice. You could run Red Flea, I suppose, but I think Brace is better in this deck, at least. Red Escape, this card is amazing. Against like any of those random MPs, especially the control MPs like Supreme Kai that have those energy attacks, or Krillin. They might throw their MP level energy at you, and you just toss this out, and now you got a free level. And getting up to Vegeta's level 3, which has the board clear on it, and another reason why you don't really want a lot of freestyles in your discard pile there is because you can kill 2 board cards with the active power. But that Red Escape into this level 3 is super, super, super powerful. And what also works is even if you're on level 1 at the start of the game, when you would go down, this level 1 ensures that if you want to stay on level 2, you can just go right back up after you got to kill your pile for it, and you do have to pitch a card out of your hand if you have one. But if you just playing Red Escape, so much advantage in this deck. Now we'll move on to the first of the attacks here. Red Mule Kick. At 2, honestly, it can kind of always fluctuate on this card. I think it's mostly here for like Wall Breaker, maybe Arm Breaker, I suppose. Those 2 cards really. But killing opponents' attached cards like black really helps out. Had to sneeze there. Alrighty, next we got Red Shoulder Grab. I'd like to run this card at 3. I think Ally Ball is something that you should really be watching out for. And also Red not having a lot of good anger hate. You know, your Master will give you a hit lower your anger on all your physicals if you do get to proc it when entering in combat, but this card's been really good to me. Just being able to sack random ball decks and ally decks because of this card, or just keep down enemy physical decks, or sorry, enemy anger decks. It's a good card. It might make it to a 3. It's kind of, there's a lot of 2-ofs in this deck because there's still a lot of testing and kind of figuring out the wiggle room. Now this is a card that I've really enjoyed. I think this card could maybe make it 2-of. If you notice, it's another one of those cards that has an effect when it's banished during combat from your discard pile, just like Red Reverse over here. Well, again, Vegeta's 2 and 3 can put this card right into your hand. Even Red Reverse, or sorry, Disregard, I'm saying Reverse. Red Disregard can put this card in your hand, which means you can either throw it for the board clear, you can kill an ally with it, if it hits you destroy setup, or you can just reveal it to your mastery to get another free attack. Either way, putting cards in your hand is always good with this mastery. Could make it a 2. I think it's a great 1-of. You don't really want to see it that much. It's really just for looping, and most people don't banish this card out of your pile themselves, which they can't anyway because it'll still go to your hand, which is awesome. Next we have Red Aerial Assault. I don't run I'll Dig Your Grave because it's not a styled card, and this is the next best thing. If it hits, it turns into an I'll Dig Your Grave. All your damage can't be prevented, but also you can stack one of these in a discard pile, and in the beginning of the combat, throw this, maybe throw another attack, and then you reveal, and you can just burst some really, really crazy anger. Great card. Red Double Strike. So this card, kind of bread and butter, just a 2 anger card. You double use attack. Vegeta does have physical modifiers on his levels 2 and 3, and the Mastery does give you a physical attack modifier. I do realize my voice just cracked pretty bad. That's awful, but I haven't been drinking a lot of water, so. We got Concussive Strike here. This card is considered styled for you since you do have the Majin trait. Very good card. Red really lacks anger lowering cards that are good, so this card just comes in clutch. It's just Dev Blow. It's weaker Dev Blow to me. I say weaker because it doesn't give you the option of choosing, but definitely got to be a 3-of, I think, in any Majin Vegeta deck. Very, very respectable card. Red Heel Kick at 2. I didn't have this card in for the longest time. I love it. So good. I think it's a good 2. The biggest thing against it is you gotta pay anger for it. But it is an awesome card. Just helps you extend those combats. And when you get a combat with Red Aerial Assault going, or you have Red Double Strikes in the pile and you're up in your 2 and your 3 and you're getting the modifiers on it, can definitely seal you some games. We got Red Collision at 2. This card fluctuates between 2 and 3. I do really like this card. It's got the same kind of synergy that like a stylish entrance kind of will have when entering. If you banish it, this gives you a card. Well, this gives you an anger with your mastery. But you can also set up your discard pile using your levels 2 and 3 and cards like disregard to get this on top and then banish it for another anger. So, but I think the best part about this really is that if it hits, you get to, you know, stack your discard pile. You know, between that and cards like red heel kick, it's really, really nice and lets you kind of dig for the right card for the right situation. Red Channel attack at 2. This is mainly because Mischievous is a thing. Not as many decks I feel like having 5-card hands. I mean, Supreme Kai will. Some other Vegeta decks will. But, you know, if this card's knocked out of your hand by your opponent, you get to get another card back and draw a card, which is, and raise your anger, which is awesome. It's got endurance. Red likes endurance when it has it, so very good kind of meta card. I think that card's kind of one that can always play in number. Next we have these over here. We got Red Lightning Slash. Now this is a new edition. This card I always kind of not really sure if I want to run it, but I think Ally and Drill is something you do need to respect, and I think this is better than the alternative that I had in here, the Forceful Attack. I think it is the ET3 physical that it has to hit to kill a single board card, and then if you perform it from your pile, you can then maybe kill a board card. And you have to banish top of your pile, or sorry, your deck. This card I think is better. It's really not that hard to hit the 2 anger, and because this itself gives you 2 anger, again, it's like the hardest thing against it is that it's got to hit, I suppose, and you do have to pay anger, but you know, heel kick is worth it. I think this card in the right situation is worth it, and it is a weak physical, but you can always pitch to mastery should you need to. Stomach Dive, I got this at 2. It's just an attached card. You know, I'd like to run Tree Might, but because it's a freestyle, I try not to keep freestyles in here. So, as far as unleash targets, we only have the 2 Inferno and 2 Stomach Dive. But I think these cards are okay. You know, if you draw into it, it's not the end of the world. It sucks that it gets knocked off by crit damage. Same thing with Inferno, but it's at least an AT4 physical. You know, if you got Master going AT6, that's pretty respectable. So, and you know, if you do want to kind of sit on that level 2, for example, if your opponent's like a control deck, if you the level 2 stops them from ending combat or skipping, you can use this card to sit on level 2 against those like oppressive matchups or the black control matchups or even the orange matchups. So, really nice. Next we have Powerlift at 2. Definitely a card that can definitely maybe get up, run up to 3. I have it at 2. It's pretty flexible. You know, it's a great card. This is just one of the staple Red Ruthless cards, I feel, because it really just gives you 2 cards in one, and then if you mastery it, you got 2 blocks and 2 attacks for they cost 2 cards. I mean, 2 for 4. That's a pretty good value. So it's hard to not run it at a 3, but for right now, spacing wise, I have it at a 2. We'll kind of break these energies down, try to resort my stack here. Red Energy Blast at 2. Meta dependent, I think, between Prideful Challenge and then the addition of Lightning Slash is, I used to have this at a 3. I really hate drawing this card in a lot of matchups, so Lightning Slash to me, running that instead at a 2, and cutting this down to 2 instead of 3 was really nice. But you never know, maybe Lightning Slash just ends up really sucking for me, and I think if that is the case, then I would probably go a 3rd Shoulder Grab and a 3rd Energy Blast, but stages are really important right now, so it is styled, which is nice, so it does kind of help you if you do get stage locked. But next we have 2 Final Flash, again, freestyle card, really kind of hard to want to run it, but you know, it's such a great card in the right matchup. It is a 2 anger card. It does suck that it turns off your Mastery, your Unleash, your Stare Down, which another reason I don't want to run Stare Down. It does shut off your level 3 power, but in the right matchup you really need this card, you know, so. And it has some synergy with that level 1, you know, if you bounce back down a level. You know, sometimes you don't want to be on a certain level 2, you know, and you toss this card. It's a good card. I think it's worth it at 2. It's been good to me, so. And finally, Red Stack Shot. Again, we're not running Dig, so you got this card and Aerial Assault, which can really pull off some pretty nutty combats with the right hands. I really, really like this card. It's nice that your opponent can't use Endurance, stops Yamcha, stops, I can't think of really anything else other than the option that I really care about, but it is very good. It stops people from using endurance. Point blank volley is another one. But really, really good card. Does give you 2 anger if it hits. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now we'll go on to the only dead cards. I say dead loosely. I mean, so Prideful Challenge is considered styled. So if you do draw it into combat, you don't want it, you can master it. But this card is awesome. This is the reason why you run Vegeta. It shuts off board. It just blanks them out. And you know me, I'm a big fan of the card Sane Energy Focus. If you know what that does. I love blanking out people's board. Awesome, awesome card. Big reason why you kind of want to stay with the whole Majin stack is because this is a Majin traded card. Same thing with Concussive Strike. In order to get the draw, there's a lot of times where I was running the Fanzy Legends level 1 initially for a while, and the set 1 level 4 a while. You know, I'd hit those levels and I'd draw this, and I would really, really be annoyed that I couldn't get the extra draw. So that's a big part of why you keep the stack kind of together. But awesome, awesome card. A lot of matchups you're going to be waiting for this card. This card can completely flip a match around. Red Relaxation, great card too. This is another one that you really, really always like to see, honestly. You stack this up with, you know, Prideful Challenge, Stylish Pose, cards like Collision, Disregard. You know, you have all these when entering effects that are just super, super strong, getting you a bunch of extra cards. Really, really awesome card. Gives you the crit out of combat, which is awesome. Great against the ball deck, great against an ally deck, great against anything. Just awesome, awesome card. So, that is the list. It's gone through changes. It's definitely always is kind of ever-evolving. I think there are definitely cards that are on the chop. The most are probably the board hate cards, honestly. They're definitely the most iffy. I think Lightning Slash, Observation, and yeah, probably, and maybe Stylish Entrance, Stare Down. Those cards are all kind of weird spots. You could maybe try to Unleash, but I think it's just so strong of a card that you need to have it at a 3. In most decks you run it in. Energy Blast, you could see that get played with, but I feel like this lineup here is pretty core. I think maybe Tandem Attack, like I said, Lightning Slash Tandem Attack, maybe could move around a little bit. Power Lift could maybe get a bump. But so far this list has been pretty respectable. I've been able to beat a lot of other physical aggro decks this deck especially because of Prideful Challenge, which, again, that card, a big thing where I actually don't like Vegeta's because it feels like that card kind of makes or breaks a lot of your matchups. And if you don't see it, you're screwed. But he has a lot of explosive potential. He's not as blow-uppy as like Ruthless Broly or Goku are, but he does have that potential. He has, I think, better tech in the sense that he's got the Prideful Challenge, and he's got a lot of pile hate, which I think is really, really important. But he's got just a couple cute combos, you know, with things like Motivational Kick and Disregard, as well as just being able to sculpt your pile when entering with this. I think he's very, very strong. Definitely very strong MP. I think Ruthless is probably the best for him, maybe Mischievous. I could see the argument for both of those two. I think Rampaging, honestly, is very cheesy. I think Rampaging in general is cheese, and I don't think it's consistent enough. In my experience, people just, if you know how to play against Rampaging and you don't get luck sacked, well, I'd rather luck sack with this than Rampaging personally. But I think honestly Mischievous and Ruthless are the best for him. I think there is an argument for Adept, but his Prideful Challenge is, I think, his biggest asset. So, but anyway, this is the list I have right now. If you have any kind of differences in opinion, or you know, maybe think that there's a way to improve it, by all means, discuss on the video down below. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for watching.